These are the highlights of a tour we took with Trafalgar Tours, completely around Ireland.
July 20th, 2013, Friday. Train to Heathrow, then flight to Dublin. In Ireland, everything is written in Gaelic as well as English, as you can see here. We joined our tour group and went to a very special Irish pub called Nancy Hand's Bar and Restaurant. This place was created from antiques that if you're tearing down a place, go and get the best things from it and put it inside your restaurant. This made for a museum-like atmosphere. We went upstairs where we had lunch, actually dinner.
Through streets broad and narrow, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh.
Luckily, we had dinner that evening with Spike and Heather, and across the table, Joe, Heather, and Bernadette, some of our favorite people on the whole tour.
She was a fishmonger, and sure 'twas no wonder, for so were her father.
Back on the bus, we see one of the bridges there in Dublin that divides it. There are about 21 bridges in Dublin. We saw quite a few and went across quite a few. We're showing buildings so you can see the architecture around Dublin, some of the streets, and we went by the Catholic Church, and the most famous church there is St. Patrick's, an Anglican cathedral, very beautiful and old. Also, the Trinity College has a famous and fabulous library with 200,000 of the world's oldest books, and they're from floor to ceiling, very high ceiling. This is a famous place to see in Dublin. In the library is the Book of Kells, which has beautiful pages on calf skin, other Gospels done by monks in Ireland. We have a couple samples here coming up. The library is lined with busts, the most famous being Jonathan Swift. We are so sorry we didn't make the effort to see this famous library. Along the Liffey River, they are going to attempt the longest line of Irish dancers. So, too bad we'll miss that. One of the bridges of the Liffey is a backward copy of the harp, and their emblem for Ireland As you can see, the horses are really beautiful and first class. These are just some little guys that we got to pet. I think this one tried to nip her. These horses are going out for their daily exercise. These are beautifully kept paddocks. There's the local dog. Then they have a Japanese garden. Yummy. This was a life-saving class. This town was called Youghal. Y-O-U-G-H-A-L. How you pronounce it, I don't know, but it was once home to Sir Walter Raleigh. We liked this pub and would have loved to stay. There's Murphy's Ale. But we just had time for our Bulmer cider. Don't you love this countryside? We have a little town, Y-O-U-G-H-A-L. Maybe it's Y'all. This is our hotel in Cork, and we dined at the hotel that evening. An Irish toast is pronounced Shlonka. It's spelled weird, S-L-A-I-N-T-E, Shlonka. Early the next morning, we went to the jail, spelled G-A-E-L. And in Cork, it's considered a rebel county. That is, they do the opposite of everyone else, which is kind of interesting. This jail reminds me of San Quentin. Where do you see the inside?
Always be a good boy, don't ever play with guns. But I shot a man in Reno just to watch him die. When I hear that whistle blowing, I hang my head and cry.
We went to an English market. These fish don't look like anything I would want to buy and eat, but then I guess I'm not all that Irish. We had a picture taken with O'Connor, the butcher. Oh, yum. Don't look at this, you'll gain 5 pounds. This was a very interesting marketplace. There's the candy. They had everything you'd want to buy. The Titanic was built in Ireland since 1845. These are the hats that remind me of Kate, Princess Kate. I think she brought this type of hat into fashion, so you can just see each one of these on her head. And they look like they'd be fun to wear. This is Muckross house. It was once owned by the Guinness family. It was a rainy day and most people had umbrellas. Fred and I wore our ponchos and kept very dry. This house was built in 1821. Guinness family bought it in 1929. Then an American owner had it in the 1960s. And when he died, it was given to Ireland. So it's a big tourist attraction. The grounds are beautiful and very well kept up. We walked around the outside before we got to go inside. I don't think we got to take pictures of the inside. They told us there was a caretaker who is the only one that lives in the mansion. I want his job. After this, we returned to the hotel and had our group picture taken out in front of the hotel. Aren't these grounds beautiful? In their fireplaces. It takes 600 to 700 years to form a bog. Peat is semi-rotted vegetation. They cut abandoned houses overgrown with bushes, small stone houses. John was telling us that if there's an O in front of a person's name, it means son of. O'Connor would be son of Connor. The countryside of Ireland seems to be covered with wild lilac bushes. There were so many rhododendrons, they are said to be a nuisance. Would you believe that?